Hello children, I am back with another English lesson. You can find this lesson as Unit 6 on page number 18 in your Learning Ladders textbook. The title of the story is The Emperor's New Clothes. Now this is a fairy tale written by the very famous Danish writer Hans Christian Andersen. Andersen is a well-known writer who has written a lot of plays, novels and travelogues, but he is very well known among children for his fairy tales like Thumbelina, The Ugly Duckling and this one, The Emperor's New Clothes. This lesson is an adapted version of the original story. Let's look at this story. Once upon a time, there lived an emperor who was in charge of a large kingdom. He had a very rare weakness. You know what that was? He was very fond of clothes. He was obsessed with clothes and he would go on collecting new clothes, try them on and spend a lot of time in his dressing room adoring himself in front of the mirror. Sometimes the ministers would come to him and say, "My lord, the officers are waiting for your inspection." "Oh, that can wait," said the emperor, looking at all his clothes and trying to decide what to wear. Sounds like some of the people we know in our lives. And sometimes the ministers would come to him and say, "My lord, you have to be at the meeting in half an hour." "Oh, that can wait," said the emperor. Thus it became well known that instead of looking after the affairs of the kingdom, he spent more time in the dressing room. So obviously, the people in the kingdom suffered because of this attitude of the emperor. And strangers came to the city and made merry and had a nice time, and nobody was there to control them. One day, two newcomers came to town. "Who are you?" the people asked. And the new people said, "We are weavers who are coming from a faraway land. We weave such exquisite fabric. And there's a specialty to the kind of clothes and fabric that we make, and that is, fools cannot see this fabric. And people who are not fit for their jobs also cannot see this fabric." People marveled at this. They said, "Wow, that's something really special. We've never heard of such a thing before," and they all believed them. But actually, they were swindlers. There were people who were trying to cheat others to get some quick money. Soon the news reached the emperor as well. And as we know, he's very fond of clothes, so he wanted to try the new clothes made by these special weavers. The emperor summoned the weavers to come to the palace, and they came and they agreed to make new garments for the king. They set up 2 looms and started working. They moved their arms and feet exactly as though they were busily weaving the fabric. But to the human eye, nothing was to be seen. The expensive threads which the emperor had brought in for making the fabric disappeared into the bags of the swindlers. So they were just pretending to be weaving, but nothing was really happening. Now the emperor had his doubts because he also could not see anything. So he sent his ministers a couple of times. The ministers came and watched these weavers at work. They pretended as if they are working and they are so tired and all of that, but the ministers could not see any cloth on the loom. No thread, no fabric, nothing. But you know what? The ministers were scared to tell the truth. They thought, if we go and tell the emperor that we cannot see the fabric, then obviously that means that we are foolish and not fit for our jobs. So the emperor will throw us out of our positions. So everybody kept quiet. And finally, the garment was ready. And the emperor came to try it on. And the weavers said, "Your Majesty, this is a special fabric. It is so light that you wouldn't even know that you're wearing it." And the emperor said, "Okay, let's try this." He took his clothes off and the weavers pretended that they are making the emperor wear the new clothes. And everybody said, "Wow, this is so amazing. Such beautiful colors and rarest of rare designs." And the emperor was so pleased that everybody was praising him. It was so good that they suggested that the emperor went on a procession so that the people in the kingdom can also see how amazing he looks in these new clothes. Well, how do I look? The emperor asked. He looked into the mirror and did not see even an inch of cloth on him. Majestic, so regal, grand. Thus came the responses, one after the other. The emperor was assured. Now he was like, I have to go on this procession because I must be looking so good. And he went on a procession with his team of ministers, and everybody started praising how amazing the king looked in his new clothes. Suddenly, from the crowd, a little voice rang out. Why are the people talking like this? He does not have any clothes on. It was the puzzled voice of a small child. Suddenly, the people who had been praising the beauty of the clothes all this while began to shout. Just as the child says, he has no clothes on. As naked as a newborn baby, they said. A child can't lie. Soon the whole town began to shout and laugh, and needless to say, the emperor and his team of ministers were so embarrassed. But he continued to pretend that he was still wearing the invisible clothes. So he held his head up high, and his noblemen continued to follow him, fists in the air. Such an amazing, hilarious story. What is the lesson you could learn from this? Sometimes, even though the whole world would say a lie, it doesn't make it a truth. So be bold and speak your truth. At the end of the lesson, as usual, we have a set of word meanings, and use those words in sentences so that you will be well familiar with those words. Let me give you an example. Exquisite. It means extremely beautiful. Let's use that in a sentence. Ria had an exquisite collection of jewelry. Let's look at the last one. Duped. Duped means deceived. Let's use that in a sentence. The storekeeper duped Rahul into buying a broken toy. The next section is learn words. Look at the words given on the left and fill in the missing letters in the words given on the right to find out the synonyms of these words. Now, synonyms, as we know, are words that mean the same as these words. Number 1, clothes. There are 2 words that are given there that could mean the same thing as clothes, and hence they are synonyms. What are those 2 words? Apparel, A-P-P-A-R-E-L, and attire, A-T-T-I-R-E. Both apparel and attire mean clothes. Number 2, emperor. As you look at those words, you could guess that it is ruler and king. Now fill in the missing letters. Number 3, sacred, holy, blessed. Number 4, scared, frightened, afraid. The letters that are given there are good clues for us to find those synonyms and then fill in the missing letters. Number 5, majestic, royal, glorious. Number 6, courage, bravery, fearlessness. Excellent. Let's move on to the next section. Make sentences with the following words. There is a set of 8 words that are given there. You just have to make sentences out of those words. These are the new words that you learned from this chapter. Now we move on to the comprehension section. We have 8 questions there, and answer those questions based on what we understood from the story. Let's look at the first one. What was the one thing that the emperor was always interested in? Was it his kingdom? No. Was it his family? No. What was it? It was clothes. So clothes were the one thing that the emperor was always interested in. Number 2, where did the emperor prefer to spend most of his time? He preferred to spend most of his time in his dressing room in front of the mirror. Like that, you can go on to answer all of those questions, and it's easy if you've understood the story. The next section is fill in the blanks with suitable words from the hint box. So there is a hint box with these words: swindlers, child, astounded, weavers, weakness, fool. Now you have to read these statements and see what word goes where. Number 1, clothes were the emperor's dash. Clothes were the emperor's weakness. 2 dash came to the city and pretended to be dash. 2 swindlers came to the city and pretended to be weavers. Number 3, anyone who was unable to see the cloth was considered a dash, considered a fool. Number 4, only the dash made the emperor realize that he was naked and not wearing any exquisite and magnificent clothing. Only the child. Number 5, the emperor was dashed to find the looms empty. The emperor was astounded to find the looms empty. He was so shocked to find the looms empty. So the correct answer is astounded. We've reached the grammar section, and today we are going to learn about adjectives. We have learned about adjectives earlier also. What are those? These are words that describe the noun or the pronoun. And in this chapter, we are going to learn about 5 different types of adjectives. First, let's look at an example of an adjective. She is a wise girl. What is the adjective here? Wise, because that is the word that is describing the noun, which is girl. Let's look at the first type of adjective. The first one is descriptive adjective. These are the simple adjectives that are used to describe a noun or a pronoun, just like what we just said now. Let's look at more examples now. Sonali is witty. So witty is the descriptive adjective that is used to describe Sonali. She is tired of waiting for your response. Here the noun is she, and describing her is the word tired. So tired becomes the descriptive adjective. Rahul's reflexes are strong. Here the noun is reflexes, and strong is a descriptive adjective. Let's move on to the second type, adjective of number. Here it gives the exact quantity or the exact amount of the noun. Example, there are 45 students in my class. Now the noun here is students, and what is the word that describes it in terms of number? 45. So 45 is the adjective of number. What if the noun is not countable, like water? You cannot count it. Can you give me some water? Here the noun is water, and some is the adjective of quantity. The third type of adjective is demonstrative adjective. Demonstrative adjectives point out the noun or pronoun which is being referred to in the sentence. So it kind of points to the noun which is talked about in the sentence. Example would be, I always buy this chocolate. Chocolate is the noun. This is the word that is pointing to that noun. So this is the demonstrative adjective. So as you have imagined, this, that, these, those are all demonstrative adjectives. Let's look at one more example. I tripped over that wire and dropped my bag of groceries. Here the noun is wire, and the demonstrative adjective is that. That is a word that is pointing to that particular wire I tripped over. So that is the demonstrative adjective. The next one is possessive adjective. These are used in the place of noun to tell to whom or to what something belongs. It shows ownership. Here also the words like this, that, these and those become possessive adjectives. Let's look at an example. This is my house. Here the noun is house. And what is the adjective that is describing the ownership? This. So this is the possessive adjective. These are my dogs. So dogs is the noun, and the descriptive word that is used here to show ownership is these. So these is the possessive adjective in this sentence. The last type is interrogative adjectives. Yes, you guessed it right. It's the question words like what, which and whose that modify nouns. Let's look at an example. What clothes should I wear for today's party? What clothes? Clothes is the noun, and what is the interrogative adjective. Which of these is your car? Which in this sentence is the interrogative adjective. Now there is an exercise that's given there that is based on this concept of different types of adjective. Underline the adjectives in the given sentences and state their types. 1. I called you several times. Here several is the adjective. And what is the type? Adjective of number. That's right. Number 2. She bought this sari. Here the adjective is this. What kind of adjective is this? Yes, demonstrative adjective. Number 3. The wise king waited for his day. The noun is king, so the adjective is wise. What kind of adjective is that? Descriptive adjective. That's right. Number 4. She brought 2 packets of toffee for me. Here the adjective is 2 and it is the adjective of number. Number 5. The old man kept waiting for his son. The adjective here is old and it is a descriptive adjective. Number 6. What should we do now? What? The question word. Yes, it is an interrogative adjective. Number 7. She made 5 types of dishes. Easy. 5. Adjective of number. Number 8. Whose car is this? Here, whose is the adjective. So this is an interrogative adjective. Let's move on. Fill in the blanks using appropriate adjectives from the given options. This is also an exercise that is based on what we learned about adjectives. Number 1. The dash man sprinted past the car. Old or young? It could be both, but the more appropriate one is the young man sprinted past the car. Number 2. The old king was a dash man. Strong or weak? The old king was a weak man. Number 3. Papa got us dash bananas. 4 or 1? Bananas is the plural form, so it cannot be 1. It is 4 bananas. Number 4. There is not dash to say. Many or much? There is. It is singular, so it is much. There is not much to say. Number 5. I want to buy dash toy. This or yellow? I want to buy this toy. That is more appropriate. Number 6. Can we take dash book instead of dash? We can say, can we take this book instead of that? Number 7. Dash dress should I wear? What dress should I wear? Number 8. Dash did he say? What did he say? Number 9. Dash is not mine. That or those? Notice here, this is singular. Dash is, so it has to be that. That is not mine. Number 10. Dash is my cycle. This or here? This is my cycle. We've reached the last section. It is called Learn to Communicate. Now this is a role play that you have to do with your friend or maybe your parent or sibling, cousin, whoever is available. Alright, and this is a very interesting one. Now you have to pretend as if you're going to a shop to buy a particular brand of hair oil. Okay, you ask for it and the storekeeper says, that is the other person, whoever is playing with you, says that it's not available. There is another brand that is available. Now you have to have a conversation where the storekeeper is going to convince you to take the only brand that is available with him. So this is something that we have experienced in our lives. We have gone for shopping and this must have happened to you as well. But this is very important for you to practice, to have fun and also to learn to speak. So listening and speaking is an important section as well. So do that and have some fun. Now we move on to the writing section. Write an essay on the topic of importance of clothes or clothes make a man in your notebook. The essay should not exceed 200 words. So after you write this, whatever your opinion is, and then make sure that it doesn't exceed 200 words and get it corrected by your parent or your teacher. So that's it about this lesson and hope you liked it. Go ahead and read this wonderful story once again. Look through all the new words, use them in sentences, and also look at the grammar section and keep practicing this. Alright? Now let's move on to the second section of this unit. That is a wonderful poem. Let me read that for you. City Rain. Rain in the city. I love to see it fall, slantwise where the buildings crowd, red brick and all. Streets of shiny wetness where the taxis go, with people and umbrellas all bobbing to and fro. Rain in the city, I love to hear it drip when I'm cozy in my room, snug as any ship, with toys spread on the table, with a picture book or two, and the rain like a rumbling tomb that sings through everything I do. This is written by Rachel Field. Let's look at the word meanings. There are 5 words that are given there. Look at the meanings and use them in sentences. For example, slantwise, meaning on a slant or an angle. So here in this poem, we see that the rain was falling on the buildings in a slanted manner, slantwise. Snug, meaning homely, cozy and comfortable. Rumbling, a deep voice or a noise. The thunder was rumbling. Learn words. Look at the pair of words given below. Some of them are synonyms, meaning words with same meanings, while the others are antonyms. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings. Write down in the blanks whether the given pair of words are antonyms or synonyms. Let's look at the first one. Shrill and loud. Both of them mean the same thing, so it is a synonym. Number 2, rough and gentle. They mean the opposite, so they are antonyms. Number 3, snug and cozy. Both the words mean the same thing, so they are synonyms. Number 4, teach, instruct. More or less, they mean the same thing, so they are synonyms. Number 6, stall and halt. Both these words mean stop, so they are synonyms. Number 5, Titanic, miniature. Titanic means very big, miniature means very small, so they are antonyms. Let's move on to the appreciation of the poem. So these are again questions to make sure that you understood or appreciate the poem. Let's look at these questions. How does the speaker love to see the rain fall? How does the speaker love to see the rain fall? I love to see it fall slantwise where the buildings crowd. So the speaker loves to see the rain fall slantwise on the buildings. Number 2, what are the buildings in the city made of? Red bricks, that's right. Number 3, why are the streets shiny with wetness? Looks like it's a cobble street, so when it rains, it shines with wetness. Number 4, how do people with umbrellas move on the street? They move. What is the word that is used here? Bobbing to and fro, up and down motion. That's how they move on the street. What else is seen on the street? If you go back to the poem, you see that there are buildings, then there are taxis, and then people holding umbrellas. Number 5, how does the speaker feel being in his or her room on a rainy day? Just like all of us feel. What is that? Snug. Snug as any ship. Number 6, what does the rain sound like? The rain sounds like a rumbling tomb that sings. What are the objects lying around in the speaker's room? That is there in the second stanza, right? When I'm cozy in my room, snug as any ship, with toys spread on the table, with a picture book or two. So there are toys on the table and also a couple of picture books. Let's move on to the grammar section now. Here we are going to learn about adjectives that change form to show comparison. So if we have to compare 2 words, the adjectives change their forms. And those 3 forms are positive degree, comparative degree and superlative degree. I'll give you an example. Positive degree example would be an adjective like strong. If you have to compare it with something else, you have to use the comparative degree saying stronger. And then if it is superlative degree, the form becomes strongest. There is an exercise that is there that is based on this concept. Write down the comparative and superlative forms of the words given below. 1. Hard. The comparative degree would be harder and the superlative would be hardest. Let's use that in a sentence. This task is hard. This task is harder than the other task. This task is the hardest of all tasks. So you understood how we are able to use adjectives in 3 different forms so that we can compare. Number 2, big. Comparative would be bigger, superlative would be biggest. Number 3, tiny. Tinier, tiniest. Number 4, beautiful. We don't say beautifuler. Instead, we can use more and most. So it becomes more beautiful and most beautiful. Number 5, old. Older, oldest. Number 6, young. The comparative degree of young is younger and the superlative is youngest. Number 7, courageous. Comparative would be more courageous and superlative would be most courageous. Number 8, kind. Kinder, kindest. Soft, softer, softest. That's right. Number 10, great, greater, greatest. That brings us to the end of Unit 6. Hope you had fun. There's a lot of things that we learned. Go back and read those lessons and the poem and revise everything that we learned. Good day and see you later.